Mr. Bell, who's the director of the Mutual Security Program, and I have met this morning to consider what actions we could take to strengthen the mutual security programs, to be sure that they're adequately financed, and to make every possible effort to assure that the security of the United States, the effectiveness of its foreign policy, will be maintained in the coming months. This matter is now before the Congress, but in a very real sense, it's before all the American people. This program of mutual security has helped protect the independence of dozens of countries since 1945. Most importantly, it has protected the security and best interests of the United States. This effort is by no means over. We're going to have a difficult struggle in the 1960s. The peaceful coexistence, which is frequently talked about, will be very intense. And in Asia, Africa, Middle East, Latin America, this struggle is going on every day. And I think that the United States has a part in it, as do other free countries. And I'm confident the American people will recognize that this effort involves their security, the maintenance of freedom, and our peace. I'm particularly glad General Clay came up this morning, as he studied this program very carefully, and he continues to be head of the committee which oversees the aid program and advises with us on it. And he might have a word to say on the matter. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, what strategy are you going to try to use to get the total amount increased now?
It's not a question of a strategy. We're trying to point out very clearly how significant these programs are. General Clay has already pointed out the effect of these cuts on Latin America, which is perhaps the most critical area in the world today, the effects on our military assistance programs on Greece, Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, South Vietnam, Thailand, South Korea. I think that it's important that the American people understand that this is a matter which involves the security and the balance of power all over the world. So we are going to continue to work with the Congress. General Clay and his committee will continue to make an effort to bring this home to the American people as well as the members of Congress. This is a matter which involves very greatly the security of our country. Now, this is the same view that was held by President Eisenhower, the same view that was held by President Truman. It's no accident that 3 presidents in a row, sitting where they do and bearing particular constitutional responsibilities for foreign policy, should all feel that this program is most important, most effective, most essential. And we hope that the American people will come to share that view.
Mr. President, do you feel there's been a significant swing in the public mood away from support for foreign aid?
I think people don't enjoy carrying this burden. I never thought they did. I always thought there were, in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, that there were reservations about it. I think that's quite obvious. But I think in the final analysis, most of them realize that it's as essential a part of our effort as the appropriations for national defense. This money is spent, nearly all of it, in the United States, and it helps keep the freedom of this country of ours. Represents much less of a percentage of our wealth than it did during the Marshall Plan days. And I think the American people realize that freedom does not come cheaply or easily.
Mr. President, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee hasn't completed its action on the authorization round. Is there any chance of getting a higher figure and then out of conference getting a fairly reasonable?
Well, we would hope so. We would hope so.
Mr. President, are you going to seek the restoration of the entire amount cut by the House from the Senate, or is there some new figure that you gentlemen are now agreed on?
No, we're going to try to get this figure as close to the recommendations. Obviously, we won't get all the recommendations, but as close to the recommendations as we can in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and in the Senate. Then there must be a conference. After that, there must be consideration by the Appropriations Committee. So I think it's important that the Senate give us as much help as it can on this program.
Mr. President, does this program look different to you now as you're in the White House than it did when you were in Congress?
Well, I supported it very strongly in the Congress as a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. It looks, obviously, a president has a particular responsibility in the field of foreign policy, as I've said, constitutionally. Therefore, as I see very clearly how vital this program is in all of the countries of Latin America. We can see it week in and week out, as well as in these other countries. I perhaps feel it more strongly in the same sense that General Eisenhower did. But I supported this program in the Senate, and I think that I think it's essential. I think it's essential. I think, as I say, I put it right alongside of our defense appropriations.
Mr. President, in your meeting this morning, was there any discussion of revamping the program in terms of what the House has done? Or was there any discussion
No, this program was, we set up. Then General Clay, his group, which included Mr. Gene Black of the World Bank, Mr. Lovett, and others looked at it. They made some proposals. We reduced our request for the authorization after their report came in. They recommended a figure over $4 billion, and this figure now, of course, in the House is almost $600 million less than that. And as I say, we haven't even gone through the appropriating procedure, which is usually less than the authorization. Now, this will mean that, as Mr. Bell pointed out, this will mean that the United States will not fulfill its commitments under the Alliance for Progress. We're going to say to the Latin American people, we're not going to do what we said we were going to do. It will mean we'll have to cut back on our military assistance to countries which are right on the firing line. And it will mean that a good many of these programs in countries of long-term development loans will come to an end. I think it will limit very much our ability to influence events in these areas. That's why I'm very anxious to see the program restored. Do you have any...
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Okay.